Long famous for its whaling and fishing industry, Eden is the southernmost town in the vast electorate of Eden-Monaro. Last year, the town's wharf had a $44 million upgrade to allow cruise ships to dock here, until the pandemic intervened.
And there's also been a building pulled down over here as well for the cruise ship as well. But there's no cruise ships or people to fill that, is there? But these fishermen want to come in here and unload fish.
The sudden disappearance of tourism has cut deep into this far corner of New South Wales.
We ran 2 tours, I think, between the fires and COVID. We had a couple of cruise ship tours in that, which was great because they're a bigger group. Then it flooded. Yeah, it's been a mad season.
Jenny Robb runs a series of tourism businesses out of her home in the small hamlet of Kaya, south of Eden. The bush is regenerating now, but the scars of what happened in January remain. The Eden area has had even more disasters to deal with than the rest of the south coast. Its timber mill was badly damaged in the fires and has only just reopened, and the fishing fleet that was once based in the town visits less often.
I think people are still reeling from what's happened with the fires, so there's still a lot of people in a pretty poor way, like then they haven't got any permanent housing. It's like, wow, we don't really need to have to deal with an election in the middle of all this.
The perfect storm of disasters that engulfed Jenny Robb's life and business has been replicated across Eden-Monaro. And in a similar way, what's happened here to the economy, to the loss of jobs, exactly replicates what's happened on average to the Australian economy. That's what makes this by-election so compelling as a snapshot of a much broader political picture. Jenny is one of almost 114,000 registered voters who find themselves in the middle of a by-election like no other.
You've got the loss of the sitting member factor with Mike Kelly retiring. There was a lot of annoyance at the Prime Minister during the fires and the hits to the tourism industry over Christmas, New Year. But then Scott Morrison's had his own personal approval ratings increase with the handling of the COVID-19 crisis.
Hi, Christy. Must be an election on, is it?
What gave that away?
Labor's Christy McBain gained national prominence as the Mayor of Bega Valley during the bushfires.
Businesses haven't had anybody shopping in them for months on end, let alone the last couple of months. So I just thought, you know what, now is the time, because I'm not prepared to sit back and see the communities suffer like they have been.
She is trying to hold the seat for Labor against Liberal candidate Fiona Cotvoys.
I was a teacher, small business owner, a real range of things. I'm a farmer now, and all that experience means that I have a real connection to what people are doing across the electorate.
Incumbent governments tend to lose by-elections, but this one is particularly hard to read because the seat was held by Labor and the outgoing member had a personal vote of about 3%. Further complicating matters was Scott Morrison's now notorious visit to the village of Cobargo during the bushfires.
You're out, son! You are out!
After the bushfires, we had rounds of political tourism, and what I saw on people's faces were sheer desperation after what they'd been through.
So I'm from Cobargo. That's my hometown. I was in Cobargo. He came down during the bushfires. The day the roads opened, he came into a tough community where he knew it was going to be tough. Now, that says a lot about the character of the person who does it.
What also makes this election very hard to read is the impact on campaigning of COVID-19. There's no door knocking or baby kissing, no campaign launches, and no focus groups to tell the parties what people are thinking. But it's clear many are thinking about how they survive until the summer and the winding down of government assistance, particularly the JobKeeper wage subsidy, which is due to end in September.
We would not have an income at all without JobKeeper. We assume we will not get any help after September. We have to, I guess.
We have businesses that aren't able to plan for the future because they don't know whether they're going to be back to normal.
That EFTPOS machine's been used twice in 2020. Twice?
Yeah.
We've got a huge seasonal casualised workforce across the Eden-Monaro, 11,400 workers ineligible for JobKeeper.
The government says it will announce the future of the wage subsidy scheme and other forms of assistance in July, after the by-election. Talking to people in the electorate, they're saying we're desperate to know what's going to happen between September and Christmas.
We have demonstrated right from the get-go that those who've really needed the help, we've been there straight away. And I can assure you we're going to continue to be there for those who are going to continue to need that support. And how that is delivered and how it's calibrated and how it's paid for, well, they are the issues that we're working through at the moment.
Can you understand the frustration of voters saying, well, we'd like a general reassurance that our needs will be listened to?
So I can give them that reassurance. I can give a commitment to everybody in this electorate that I will listen to the needs if I'm elected, and that I will take those needs and those concerns into government.
As well as bushfires and the pandemic, the inland and alpine regions of the electorate are still struggling with drought.
Come on, Baba! Oh, I think they're hungry today.
Olivier Kapantanakos runs an ecotourism business on his small farm near Jindabyne.
There was no Easter. There was no Easter at all. So that was probably where reality really hit. It really hit that if we don't get a good winter, some of these businesses may not survive into next year.
He also sits on the local Chamber of Commerce and says alpine businesses are falling through the cracks due to their seasonal workforces.
A lot of the issues being played out don't necessarily reflect, I think, the difficulties that the economy is having.
The fallout from this year's coastal bushfires have dominated much of the by-election coverage. But the bulk of Eden-Monaro voters live inland in the north, in Queanbeyan and massive new developments like this one at Googong. While the circumstances are different, the issue right across the electorate is jobs. In this area, that means construction.
All the work's been here in Googong, so I've been here right from the start, yes.
The government's home builder grants were announced just as the by-election campaign began.
I don't think 25,000 will make people turn around and buy a house, but I think it'll help the ones that are already in the process.
The result may be further complicated by preferences, with the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party preferencing Labor. The final outcome will obviously be important for Anthony Albanese and Scott Morrison, but for the people of Eden-Monaro, the result will be their best chance to register the help they need or their fear of change in such difficult times.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.